So if you were to bump into me on the street and ask me what my favorite line of smartphones from Samsung is, I would tell you the Galaxy Note line. Now, every time Samsung brings out the Galaxy S, they seem to one-up it whenever they release the new Note. It typically comes with a larger battery, sometimes bumped up performance, and obviously that awesome S Pen, which has basically defined the Note range. But what if I were to tell you that that very S Pen might be killing Samsung and the Note itself? Now we have something to talk about. So nowadays, we basically know everything about a smartphone before it comes out. There's not a single flagship these days that will not leak like months in advance before it actually releases. I mean, for goodness sakes, we're already seeing leaks about Apple's iPhone from 2020 and how some websites are advising buyers not to buy the model that hasn't even come out yet. So it'd be easy for me to sit here and make a video about all the cool stuff of the Note 10 that's leaked so far, but we can just put some pictures up for you, right? Some of the basics. It's going to come with a hole punch design, although the hole punch seemingly is just the front selfie camera, and the bezels are super, super thin, and as always, it's going to be a massive phone, and it seems to be featuring a triple camera setup on the back. There will be two different variants, a standard and a pro version, with the pro version being gigantic. There's also stuff about Samsung taking away expandable storage, and there's even some recent rumors floating around about Snapdragon releasing the 855 Plus that may show up in the Note 10 with some slightly increased performance. But hey, that would be the whole video right there. What I want to talk to you guys about is a very prominent Samsung insider who also releases leaks from time to time, who goes by the name of Ice Universe. Now, according to Ice Universe, he sat down and talked to a few engineers at Samsung, and they spilled some pretty crazy secrets in regards to the Note 10 and some of the manufacturing sacrifices they had to make to it to include the S Pen. And this is what they are. So Ice Universe has admitted that Samsung engineers have admitted to him that in order to fit the S Pen in this year's upcoming Galaxy Note 10, Samsung had to cut 800 milliamp hours off the battery size. They had to cut out aggressive and more cutting-edge cameras, and they had to use bigger than what they wanted to bezels on the phone. Now, let's break each one of these down one by one and see how much of an impact this actually makes. Cutting 800 milliamp hours. So last year's Galaxy Note 9 came with a really large 4,000 milliamp hour battery, and the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus one-upped it by including a 4,100 milliamp hour battery. Now, I'm sure that the battery information for both the standard Note 10 and the Note 10 Plus have leaked, and obviously the Note 10 Plus is going to have a bigger battery because it's the bigger phone. But whatever that number is, add 800 to it if the phone did not have the S Pen. Now, battery life seems to be a huge topic of concern for a lot of users these days, and a lot of people who buy phones will measure a little bit of their overall satisfaction based on the amount of battery life they get on a single charge. So, is 800 milliamp hours a huge cut? I would say so. Let's say, hypothetically speaking, this year's Note 10 Plus comes with, 4,100 or 4,200 milliamp hours. Without the S Pen, you're looking at a staggering 5,000 milliamp hour battery in what Samsung markets as their most productive and workhorse-oriented device. So that much of an extra battery, especially when companies like Apple are even jumbo-sizing their phones, like the XS Max, to get a larger battery in there, I would say that's kind of important. More aggressive and cutting-edge cameras. So there was a point in time where Samsung and Apple would basically do this like knockout match to see which company could put the best smartphone camera in their latest flagship. Now, I think that was way back when Samsung was bringing out like the S7 and the Note 6, and Apple obviously had like the iPhone 6s and the iPhone 7. Since then, Google has brought out the Pixel line, and Huawei has even brought out some amazing phones that have great cameras, and Samsung and Apple have kind of taken a back seat. Now, the iPhone 11 that's coming out in like a month or so is rumored to have a triple lens setup, and it's rumored to have really, really good cameras, even over the XS, which already has improved cameras over the 10. So we know Apple is bringing something different to the table. But Samsung admits that they have to use less aggressive or less cutting-edge camera technology in order to fit in the S Pen. Now, I'm not saying a phone like the S10 Plus takes bad photos. In fact, it takes really, really good photos. But don't expect to go out and buy a Samsung and have an industry-leading camera experience like you used to 3 or 4 years ago. So, is including the S Pen worth the sacrifice in potential better cameras that may actually compete with the Pixel, I think that's less important to me, but it's still going to be really important to a lot of people who rely on their phone for a smartphone camera experience, because a lot of people are not walking around with DSLR cameras or professional cameras, right? You want to be able to rely on your phone to take a really good photo whenever you need it to at any given time. But I'm still expecting the Note 10 to pack a really, really good camera, so we'll see how that one plays out. And finally, smaller bezels than the ones they currently used. Now, obviously, we touched on the bezels in the beginning of this video. You guys have seen the Note 10, right? Look at this thing. Look at it. Look at those bezels. There are hardly any bezels, and there is one cutout for the camera. So just imagine if Samsung didn't have to include the S Pen, and they could probably go full display like a OnePlus 7 Pro, but on a phone like the Galaxy Note. Can you guys imagine the possibilities with a phone like that? I don't know. To me, the design of the screen is a little more important than something like the camera. But again, the Note 10 already has what looks like a phenomenal display, so I'm not too worried in this regard either. It just would have been cool to see if Samsung could pull off that full screen display, because it seems like every company these days is rushing to perfect the 100% bezel-less free phone. I just would have liked to see Samsung try it out on the Note. But again, in order to achieve those results, Samsung would have to take out the S Pen from the manufacturing design of the Note, and that leaves us with a lot of questions. Now, every single time Samsung brings out a Note, the S Pen is always better. And last year on the Note 9, they even included Bluetooth features on the Note and made an APK available to third-party developers so they could even build in features into the S Pen itself. And obviously, they're not going to not advance the S Pen this year. It's going to be better than last year's too. So we got to kind of sit here and ask ourselves, is the inclusion of the super advanced S Pen worth those types of cutbacks on the phone itself? And another thing to think about is, if you remove the S Pen from the Note, I mean, ideally the feature that defines the entire Note line itself, what happens to the Note line? Do you have to rename it? Do you have to completely cut it out entirely and just focus on bringing out like one super, super dope S-line phone every single year? I mean, I don't know. I personally really, really like the Note line a lot more than I like the S line, just because, like I said, it seems to almost be one of those like mid-year refresh slash upgrade over the S line for these particular reasons type of phone. So I always like it more than I like the Galaxy S. But the Galaxy S line is also fantastic. And I'm not trying to say that this year's Note is going to be a disappointment. In fact, I'm really, really excited for it. And I'm really excited to see what advancements they've made with the S Pen. But I just wanted to spread the word with you guys and kind of get y'all's opinion and see how you guys feel about the cutback Samsung has to make to include the S Pen. Does it matter to you? Does it not? What do you think? If they kill the S Pen, would they have to rename the line entirely, cut the line out entirely? These are all questions I want you guys to answer in the comment section down below. And let me know what you guys think, because we've basically wrapped up, in my opinion, what are kind of the hot topic issues with this year's Note. And I feel like those were more prominent than some of the leaks that we see, because I mean, you could open up Google and search cell phones of 2019 and you'll see Pixel 4 leaks, Apple 2020 leaks, Galaxy Note 10 leaks, Huawei leaks. They're all over the place, right? So it would have been really easy for me to sit here and make a leak video for you guys. But what I wanted to do was shed some light on this particular find, because I thought that was really interesting to see the type of cutbacks that Samsung has to make in order to include the S Pen, even with the advancements of manufacturing technology and how awesome cell phones are becoming these days. So that just about does it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for watching my little mini rant slash educational video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comment sections. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace. So nowadays, we basically know everything about a smartphone because it comes out. We basically know everything about a smartphone because it comes out.